After a weekend break from the EU referendum due to the tragic death of Jo Cox, is politics, or indeed the reaction to it by the minority, becoming far more dangerous than we anticipated? Ideas being put in place by both campaigns were and are gathering momentum, but are they reverting to desperate measures with the use of fear? Seen and aired our views on the immigration poster revealed by UKIP, another stab at immigration, and the fact that it causes unrest amongst some of us is yet another tactic to ultimately gain what a politician wants. Although I have previously said in an earlier episode that in fact I agree with the point system as advocated by UKIP and indeed the SNP, I feel I have to say I don't agree with many, if not all, of UKIP's policies. Nigel Farage made a statement on the poster saying it would not have triggered such a row without the death of Jo Cox. Now, I find myself saying that emotions would have been running almost infinitely high, as well as opinions over the poster, whether Jo had passed years before, after or during this outage of this poster. To use the death of a great lady as an argument kind of beggars belief. The image, of course, was taken on the Slovenian border last October. Now, I don't know if many of you know that. And again, despite what I think or what decision I have made over the EU, this is, in my opinion, another cheap shot to instill fear and division, to enable a final decision by the public. Not that I think it will, I'm guessing. Nigel Farage told Sky News that the poster reflects the truth of what's going on, but does it? As reported by the website Politics Home, it was taken on the Slovenian border. Now, did UKIP just Google a picture and copy and paste it? Or did they send a reporter down to the border, take notes and investigate the situation? Or do they actually not know? And I'm talking about UKIP. Because he says the poster shows truth on how bad it really is, but Croatia and Slovenia are the latest countries to impose limits for the number of refugees allowed to cross. Both being member states of the EU, they announced, as reported by The Guardian in February, that there will be no more than 580 refugees and migrants a day allowed through. Now, if Farage is using the picture to highlight the problem, in the UK, Full Fact have stated around 3 million people living in the UK in 2015 were citizens of another EU country. Now, that's just 5% of the UK population. Over 2 million nationals of other EU countries are in work, and that is about 7% of the working population. An increase of about 1.9 million since the expansion of the EU. Now, is it me, or does that just not constitute as a problem? Them figures are low compared to the UK population. Now, many are complaining that the immigrants are coming to the UK because the government makes it look attractive, mostly in regards to benefits. But again, as stated by Full Fact, and they are an analyst company, that in truth most migrants don't receive benefits. Immigrants have a high employment rate in the UK, 79.8% in fact, which makes them ineligible for employment benefits. But because they do the more menial jobs, the low paid jobs, they can claim tax credits. But more than 80% of adult immigrants are not taking advantage of this and claiming the tax credits. So with these points in mind, it doesn't seem that bad, certainly not to me. A study was done by the Centre for Social Investigation at Newfield College, poking at the fact that Britons like Jewish immigrants to Muslims, but the study also suggested that 83% of people would allow between a few and many Muslims as immigrants, which I feel is the agenda behind the poster as echoed by Donald Trump. Lindsay Richards, co-author of the report, said that the relaxed attitude to Muslims reflected that they were a large group. Now, I guess she was referring to the majority of UK residents and not the kind of people that have participated in recent tragic events. And with regards to recent tragic events, both here and across the pond, hate crime is being fueled by the propaganda of UKIP poster-type inclinations. One Twitter user described Jo Cox as a traitor, while another said she was a threat to the UK. One far-right group, who are East Midland based, posted on Facebook, "We knew it was only a matter of time before we took it to the next level. We have been mugged off for too long." And yes, we have been mugged off for too long, but going around killing politicians or spreading hate and undermining our very society is not the way to go about it. Do your research for yourself. Immigration in itself is not a problem, certainly not at the level that some people would suggest. And killing people just because you think they have done wrong is not going to make the UK better. You stoop down to the level of the very people you are protesting about. The definition of terrorism, which these far-right groups are saying these politicians are, or immigrants coming into the country, or even Muslims born of this country, the unofficial or unauthorised use of violence and intimidation in the pursuit of political aims. What was the killing of Jo Cox? What are all the letters and threats being made to politicians? I'll leave you to think about it.